I never thought a library could scare me until I stayed inside all night. The building was older than anyone remembered. The brick walls were thick and cold. The windows were tall and dusty. The moonlight barely entered through the grime on the glass. I walked in slowly, the wooden doors creaking as I pushed them. My footsteps echoed across the empty hall. The smell of old paper and ink filled the air. It was quiet, except for the faint hum of the overhead lights. I'd come to research for a project. I loved books more than anything else. I thought I knew what to expect. I was wrong. The aisles were endless. Rows of towering shelves stretched in every direction. Dust motes danced in the pale light. Every book had its own story. I could feel the weight of knowledge around me. I ran my fingers along the spines. The library seemed to breathe with me. I turned the corner, and I saw a small alcove with a single chair. The chair looked inviting, and yet slightly ominous. I sat down, my notebook open on my lap, the pen ready. I was eager to start. Suddenly I heard a faint whisper behind me. I froze. I told myself it was the wind. The sound came again, softer this time. Almost a seagull. I turned quickly. No one was there. I whispered out loud, "Who is there?" My own voice sounded strange in the cavernous hall. The air felt colder. I shivered. I turned back to my notebook, and I tried to focus on the task ahead. Minutes passed. I wrote a few lines. I heard a subtle flipping of pages from somewhere deep in the stacks. I stood up to investigate. The shadows seemed to move as I walked past the shelves. Each step I took echoed. A cold draft brushed past my neck. I could feel something watching me. The hairs on my arms stood up. I whispered, "Hello? Is anyone there?" The silence that followed was heavy. The air felt thick. I realized I was alone and yet not alone. Something was in this library with me. I reached an aisle filled with ancient books. The leather bindings were cracked and worn, the titles embossed in faded gold. I picked up a book. The moment my fingers touched it, a shiver ran down my spine. The pages seemed to hum softly. I opened the book. The words on the page shifted slightly, as if alive. I read a sentence. A chill ran through my body. The library seemed darker, the shadows deeper. I heard a soft whisper say, "Read carefully." He spoon-haroned. No one was there. My heart raced. The book felt heavier in my hands. I realized I could not put it down. I had to know more. I walked deeper into the library. The shelves towered over me like silent giants. The floorboards creaked under my weight. Every aisle looked the same, yet I could feel a presence guiding me. A soft whisper came from the far end of the hall. "Follow," it said. I hesitated. Fear clawed at my chest. My curiosity pushed me forward. I reached the end of the aisle. The lights flickered. I saw a shadow move just beyond the books. I froze. The shadow lingered and vanished as quickly as it appeared. I whispered to myself, "I must be imagining it." The sound of footsteps echoed from nowhere. I felt my heartbeat pounding in my ears. The library seemed alive. Every book, every shelf, every whisper was watching me. I found a small reading room. The door was slightly ajar. The red glow of an old lamp spilled out. I entered slowly, my eyes adjusting to the dim light. A single desk sat in the center. The lamp flickered. I felt a cold breath on my neck. I turned around. Nothing. I walked to the desk. A book lay open. The pages fluttered as if by invisible fingers. I leaned closer. The letters seemed to rearrange themselves before my eyes. I heard whispers all around me, soft and distant, calling out my name. The room felt smaller, the walls closer. I could not move. The book seemed to pull me in. I felt fear and fascination at the same time. I could not leave. I heard footsteps approaching, slow and deliberate. I could feel the library holding its breath. I whispered, "Who is there?" No answer came. The lamp flickered. The shadows on the walls seemed to shift and dance. I felt a presence behind me. I dared not turn. My hands shook. My mind raced. I realized I had crossed into something I did not understand. Something ancient. Something alive. The book quivered in my hands. I tried to set it down, but my fingers would not let go. A soft voice whispered, "Learn, respect." The air was thick with knowledge. The library itself seemed to be speaking to me. Or spacet, or maybe minutes. Time felt meaningless. I wandered from aisle to aisle. Each book I touched seemed to carry a warning. Each whisper carried a lesson. I felt both terror and awe. The walls of the library seemed to bend slightly. The floor beneath me creaked and moaned. I realized I was part of something larger, something that demanded respect. I heard a faint laugh, childlike and echoing. I turned quickly. No one was there. The shadows shifted. The whispers grew louder, softly repeating, "Read, learn, respect." I came across a spiral staircase leading to a loft. The books there were older, the air thicker, the light dimmer. I climbed slowly, each step groaning under my weight. At the top, a large desk sat with books stacked high. I approached. The oldest book lay on top, bound in dark leather, the title unreadable. I opened it. The pages whispered to me, secrets of forgotten knowledge, stories of those who ignored wisdom. I felt a cold presence behind me. I did not dare look. My pulse raced. The book seemed to demand that I read, that I understand, that I respect the power of knowledge. The wind outside picked up. The library seemed to shiver. I heard distant murmurs, voices of past scholars, librarians long gone. They whispered to me, encouraging, warning, guiding. The words seeped into my mind. I felt fear. I felt awe. I felt an urge to learn. I realized the library was testing me. It was teaching me. It was alive in ways I could never comprehend. I whispered a soft promise. I will respect knowledge. I will learn. I will not ignore it. I turned to leave the loft. The staircase seemed longer than before. The shadows seemed to reach out. I descended slowly. Every step echoed with whispers. I could feel eyes on me from every shelf. I reached the main floor. The lamp flickered once more. The whispers softened. I felt my legs shake. I knew I could not leave yet. I had to continue. I had to understand. The library demanded it, and I knew I would obey. I walked past the aisles, my fingers trailing along the spines. I could feel the library guiding me. I found another alcove, books arranged in a circle. I sat in the center. The air grew colder. A book floated slightly before me. It opened, the pages flipping as if alive. I read softly. The whispers wrapped around me. Many stories, warnings, tales of those who ignored knowledge. Every 30 seconds a whisper called my name. Every 30 seconds a shadow shifted. The tension built. I could not stop listening. I could not stop reading. The clock on the wall was invisible. Time lost meaning. I felt the library watching, judging, teaching. I realized that my love for knowledge had led me here. That curiosity and respect were intertwined. That the library would haunt anyone who ignored its lessons. A soft breeze carried the scent of old paper and candle wax. I shivered. I felt a presence close by. I whispered, "I am ready to learn." The shadows paused. The whispers soft. The book seemed satisfied. I could feel the knowledge entering me, wrapping around my mind. Filling me with awe and fear, I moved toward the exit. I heard a faint whisper from the farthest aisle. It called me back. One last lesson. One final mini-hook. I turned slowly. The books on the shelves shifted slightly. The shadows seemed alive. I felt a cold hand brush past my shoulder. I gasped softly. My heart raced. I knew I had seen something supernatural. Something alive within these walls. I whispered, "Thank you." The library seemed to sigh. The whisper faded, and I left. Knowing that I would return. Knowing that the lesson of knowledge would stay with me forever. I walked out into the moonlit courtyard. The wind carried the faint whispers with it. I held the book close. To my chest, I knew that what I had learned was only the beginning. I knew the library had more secrets to reveal, and I felt a shiver of both fear and excitement. I whispered to myself, "I will return tomorrow. I will uncover it all." I returned the next evening. The library loomed larger in the fading twilight, its shadows stretching across the courtyard. The doors creaked open as I pushed them. A chill greeted me. The air, thick with whispers. I held the book close. Its weight heavier than before. I knew the night ahead would be different. The library seemed alive and aware of my presence. Every step I took echoed in the cavernous halls. The smell of old paper and ink enveloped me. I whispered softly, "I am ready to learn." The silence responded with a faint sigh. A promise that the lessons would continue. I walked toward the central aisle, shadows dancing on the walls as the flickering light struggled to stay on. Every book seemed to lean slightly toward me, as if they knew I was returning. A faint hum surrounded me. The hum grew louder. A whisper called my name softly. I shivered. My heart raced. The library was aware of me in a way I could not understand. I knew it had prepared something "Something important," I whispered. "I am not afraid." The shadows seemed to pause, the hum soft, and I stepped deeper into the hall. I reached the spiral staircase. The air around it thicker than before. The steps groaned under my weight. The loft above seemed to breathe. Every book stacked there felt alive. The oldest book on top pulsed softly, as if waiting for me. I approached slowly, my fingers trembling. I touched the cover. A cold sensation ran through me. I opened the book. The pages whispered secrets of knowledge long forgotten. I read each line slowly, the whispers guiding me, telling me stories of scholars, librarians, and seekers of truth. Many hooks appeared with every paragraph. Shadows flickered every few moments. The tension grew. My curiosity and fear intertwined. A presence appeared at the edge of my vision. I turned slightly. The figure of an old librarian or scholar seemed to materialize. It was translucent, yet detailed. Its eyes full of wisdom and sorrow. I whispered, "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head. The whispers grew louder. Every word a caution, every sentence a lesson. It gestured toward the books around me. The whispers said, "Respect knowledge. Do not take it for granted. Every page carries power. Every lesson has consequence." I felt a shiver run through my spine. I whispered, "I understand. I will respect it." The figure guided me to a secluded alcove. The air colder here, the shadows denser. I noticed a book floating slightly in the air, its pages turning gently. I reached out. The whispers intensified. Many hooks every few moments. I could feel knowledge and fear merging. Every sentence I read revealed more of the library's secrets. Tales of those who ignored wisdom, warnings etched in every line. I realized that this was more than a building. It was a living entity, testing, teaching, shaping those who entered its walls. I whispered softly, "I am ready for the lesson." The whispers grew into a soft chorus, echoing all around me. The figure of the librarian seemed to nod in approval. I felt a warmth in my chest, as if understanding was seeping into me. Many hooks of faint flickering lights and rustling pages kept my senses alert. I felt awe and terror simultaneously. The book floated higher. A page turned toward me. It glowed softly. The letters shimmered. I read aloud softly. "Knowledge is power. Respect every word. Usit, wisely. Fear, ignorance." The whispers responded with a gentle sigh, as if acknowledging that I had understood. I wandered through the library again, each aisle revealing more secrets. I saw faint shadows of past scholars moving silently. Many hooks of whispering names and distant footsteps kept me on edge. I realized these were the spirits of those who had learned, those who had ignored the lessons. I felt the weight of responsibility, to learn, to respect, to carry the knowledge forward. The library was alive, watching, guiding, ensuring that no lesson was forgotten. Hours passed, though I felt as if minutes had gone by. I came to the main hall again. The lamp flickered softly. The shadows danced gently. The whispers softened. The presence of the librarian lingered near the loft. I felt a deep calm settle over me. The tension still there but subdued. I whispered, "I understand the lesson. Respect knowledge. Seek it endlessly. Share it wisely." The air seemed to respond. The faint hum of the library now soothing, encouraging. I realized that the fear had been a test, the horror a vehicle for understanding. Many hooks had kept me alert. The suspense had taught me attention, patience, focus. I approached the exit. The doors before me bathed in the pale moonlight. The whispers faded but lingered softly. I held the book close. I knew I had changed. The library had left its mark on me. I felt gratitude. Fear mingled with respect. I whispered to myself, "You will return. I will continue to learn. I will honor the knowledge." I stepped outside. The wind carried a soft rustle of pages, a gentle reminder that the library was always watching, always teaching. I walked into the night, knowing that the lesson was mine to carry. That curiosity and respect for knowledge were inseparable, that every book I touched could guide or haunt me. The night air was crisp. The library loomed silently behind me. I could feel the whispers in my mind, softly reminding me of the lessons, the importance of learning, the necessity of respect. I realized that horror was the medium, but understanding was the message. Many hooks of memory and shadow lingered in my thoughts. Every step I took carried the weight of knowledge. I whispered one final time, "Thank you for teaching me, for guiding me, for showing me that knowledge is alive, that it demands respect, that it shapes those who seek it carefully." I walked home slowly, the wind carrying the echoes of whispers. I knew the library would always be a part of me, that every lesson I had learned would remain, and that the haunted library would always call me back. I reached my home, the book safe on my desk, the whispers quiet now, yet present. I felt a deep sense of reverence, a mixture of fear and awe. The night had taught me more than I imagined. Horror had revealed wisdom. Fear had illuminated respect. I whispered softly, "I will share this knowledge carefully. I will honor it fully." The library had chosen me as a learner. I had accepted. I felt a chill and a smile at the same time. The shadows of the night seemed alive, yet comforting. I knew I was ready to continue the journey, to learn more, to respect all knowledge, to be forever mindful of the power each book contained. The wind outside carried one last whisper, soft, distant, reassuring. Respect, knowledge, seek wisdom, fear, ignorance. The haunted library had given me its final lesson. I felt the presence fade, the fear turning into quiet respect. Soft whispers, distant footsteps lingered in my mind. I closed my eyes and smiled softly, knowing that every library, every book, every whisper carries lessons, if we only listen carefully. I whispered one last time, "I understand. I will honor this knowledge forever."